Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's your buddy Choppadong. This is a main slate DFS diary for NHL. Today, we're going to again focus on Fanduel. It's just a little bit easier for me. I can flow a little bit faster, and you don't want me going over 20-25 minutes anyway. So let's quickly burn through as much as we can about this slate, strategize it. I'm going to tell you where I'm automatically going. Um, I'm going to look at the NHL slate, find the smaller slates because this is a lot of games to process. What are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 slates. Okay, not terrible. 9 games isn't bad. It felt bigger than that when I was initially writing them down. But if I wanted to look at the smaller 2-game slate, nah, I don't like 2-game slate. There's a 3-game, and it is these are actually the teams I'm targeting. And I will tell you why here in a minute. So you can play this slate here where everybody will be on the same teams as you, or you could even play this slate with those 3 games and probably set yourself up well, not only because it's a hammer type game, but because it's a couple of the teams that I like. The place to dive in, NHL.com, I found some discrepancies. I'll walk through this a little bit, but I found some discrepancies on here where, maybe here I'm at 9 games samples, 11 game samples, and that's throwing the numbers off here. This is just a pure 10 games when you see the last 10. So maybe that's where the discrepancies are coming from, but maybe not. I don't know where the data gets pulled from and all that stuff. And the last thing I'm going to do is bash this research station because you heard me bash the Roto Grinders stuff earlier today. But I do like to do this and just go pure numbers, pure goals for and pure goals against. So I will write these teams down. I'll write down on my sheet, Edmonton versus New York Islanders, Ottawa versus Winnipeg, whatever. And I know the top line is the away team, the bottom line is the home team. And then I'll go down and I'll fill it out and I'll rank them. What is the ranking? Edmonton was 22nd on this list in goals for. So I will mark that down and I will see that they're the 24th team goals for. They're the 4th team goals against. New York Islanders is the 26th team goals for and the 31st goals against. Now, Edmonton being 22nd and the New York Islanders being 31st in goals against tells me it's a bad spot for Edmonton. So, of course, they'll probably blow up for 6 goals tonight, but that's a bad spot on paper for Edmonton. I'm looking for high, high rankings in the goals for, and then teams when I sort by goals against. For me, the number 1 team is giving up the most goals. So I'm looking for basically low numbers in both sides. Low numbers on the goals for ranking and low numbers in the goals against ranking. The only thing I could really find on this slate tonight was Toronto ranked 4th in goals for going up against Arizona ranked 10th in goals against, and that's not super great, but it's not bad. You got like Carolina 2nd in goals for, but they're going up against the 26th in Dallas in goals against. That's not good. 9th in Nashville, 9th goals for going up against 6th in goals against in Vegas. So that is a good matchup. That's why I like one of those late games. San Jose 6th in goals for going against 11th in goals against in Vancouver. That's a late game. And then Boston 13th going up against 15th in goals against in the LA Kings. So that's not as strong as those others for sure, but at least it's something. So the teams that I would be targeting personally, and this is such a huge slate, there's more of a chance you're going to be wrong on this, honestly, than the smaller slates. But I would target Toronto, Nashville, San Jose, and Boston. There's other contrarian ways to go, but on a slate this size, ownership's going to be way spread out. You don't need to panic. You don't need to freak out and try and get ultra kooky contrarian. Like we did on the early slate of 3 games where we took the Detroit, against Philly and kind of banked, because honestly, that has a ton of risk to it, and you just don't need to take that kind of risk tonight because if I've got 4, 5, 6 offenses that I can target, one of them is going to do well. 2 of them will probably do well. So let's focus on those 4 teams. You can find your own way to your own teams if you don't agree with me. That's perfectly fine. And you can use this page in doing so with the goals for and goals against, just like I've showed you in the previous couple of videos. But that was a very fast way to do the other way, to do it, my way, whatever. I'll go into the skaters tab, and this is how I'm going to cut this down. Once it loads up here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kick that X off, right? And then I'm only going to kick on the teams that I want to see, okay? Because the other teams are great, but I want to see where my stacks might come from first. So what did I say? And oh boy, so we've got the day slate stuff on here as well. There's San Jose. Whoops, got to kick them the other way. It's got to wait a minute for it to kind of reset and do its thing. I need to turn them on, and then I need to come and turn some others on with them. This is just the fastest way to go about it. Nashville, San Jose, Boston, and Toronto. There we go. So once I've got those 4 teams turned on, this is my focal point. I can fill in with one-offs elsewhere. I'm still going to come over here. I'm still going to sort by the descending last 5-game FanDuel average. And then I'm going to see what I get. I see, Matthews, Bergeron, Kane, Tavares, Marchand, whatever. If I look through here for the value, Kane is a value. LeBlanc is a value. Hurdle's a value. So there's 3 San Jose guys right there. Burns is producing 7,600 for a defenseman is a lot, but he is producing. Krug, $1,000 cheaper. 6,300 for Ryan Johansson. 5,100 Casper Kapanen, whatever. 4,100 Darren. Jesus, try and say these things fast. But Heinen is still a value play, especially he's on that top line. Krejci, these guys, because they're better than, say, Mitch Marner right now. But if you're going to do a Toronto stack, you're going to want to include some of these guys. Another way you can do this, let's say you do want to see that Toronto stack. Just shift by Toronto. Take the guys that are producing. Look, it's all line 1 dudes in the last 5 games. That's the way it should be. So you might take Tavares and Riley. You're not going to probably get Matthews, Tavares, and Riley. You might have to include some Kapanen in there. But if I did Tavares and Kapanen in there, I've got it broken up on the power play a little bit, and I run them with O'Reilly, or with O'Reilly. I'm a St. Louis guy. With Kadri here on the 3 and the top power play, I could take him for a little bit cheaper, right? Take him for a little bit cheaper and run him in there with Tavares, or run him in there even with Matthews. I've got a couple of different lines of coverage, and I overlap on that power play. Lots of different ways to go about it. And that would be a way to stack, find your stacks perhaps. Let's say I wanted to look at Boston. I would do the same thing. I would come looking at these lines right in here. And being on the road, I might look at a Krug on that second defensive pairing, but that doesn't matter like it does with the wings. Krejci, DeBrusk, maybe those guys get some run tonight. But really and truly, your top line is the ones that are going to be doing the scoring. That's Heinen, Marchand, and Bergeron. So it's no coincidence those are 3 of the top 4 guys. That would probably be my stack. If I look at, who did I leave off? San Jose. And then we'll do Nashville. We'll just do this one. Then we'll run into Domination Station and play with it. So Evander Kane, LeBlanc, Hurdle, Kane, with Burns. Pavelski, Couture, Meyer is a little bit down the list. You might focus on these top guys, but that'd be fine too. That's a stack. It's up there. They're producing for their team. They're up there producing for their team. That's all that really matters. Who did I say? Nashville? So Johansson, Arvidsson, Subban, Josie. So now look, 5,600 versus 6,700. If you need $1,000, take Subban. If you don't need the $1,000 because you found value elsewhere, Josie. Okay? Forsberg might be a little bit down your own priority list. You might be taking a couple of these guys first. If I turn these off, turn the rest of them back on again, and I told you I would go do the Domination Station here in a minute. But the first thing, one other thing I would do is I would take off the guys that are playing, right now. And who is that? That's Calgary, Colorado, Detroit, Edmonton playing tonight, yeah. LA Kings, Nashville, Islanders, Ottawa, Philly's playing right now, Pittsburgh's playing right now, St. Louis is playing right now. Who am I missing? Nope, that's it. Those are the 6 teams. So I can remove them by holding the control key and going click, 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 click. Now I'm only on the night games. I'm still going to go sort by the 5-game numbers just to make sure they're in the right order. And then I could go old school, the way we have been doing it, and look for center value on this slate. This is where I'll find my one-offs. Looking for out-of-place salaries, 7,600. Braden Point, 7,200. Pettersson, 6,200. Hurdle, even better. 6,300. Johansson, strong. Dylan Strome again with Chicago, 5,600. He's starting to get expensive. Krejci at 5,100. 5,300 at Kadri. These guys are all in play. No dirt cheap, Kempe. No dirt cheap value at that spot, which may prohibit us from reaching up for some of the big stacks in the studs. On defense, 5,500 is not exactly cheap value. I'd want to be in the low 4s. So Osterley would be intriguing as a one-off. Pulak would be interesting. Goligoski as a punt would be interesting. I would take one. I would not take Goligoski and Osterley unless I had a death wish. 4,300 Nate Schmidt, 3,700 Alec Martinez. And I'm looking for guys that would be on the teams I'm wanting to target. Like I'm not wanting to target Arizona. Not necessarily. I'm New York Islanders, okay, not 43, 39. So nothing on a team that I really want to target. Maybe Seabrook, but Gustafson's getting the power play one run right now, at least last I knew. LA's not a target of mine. Vancouver's not a target of mine. 4,600 in Ekholm. Okay, if you really need the money, that's 4,600. I'd rather go further down, down here to McAvoy at 4,200. But he's not producing like some of these guys. So, on a 3-game slate like we had, or 4-game slate like we had last night, McAvoy was a big value. Tonight, maybe not so, because you've just got better options. Okay? But this is how I would go about finding it. And if I found any deep value, this will spot it for me just this fast. 6,200 Druin, 6,000 Niederreiter. How'd he do for you last night? 4,500 LeBlanc again. 4,700 Cahoon again. These are names that we've been mentioning lately. There's Kapanen, Heinen. See, these are your value guys. These are the guys you should be focusing on right now because A, they're producing, B, they're still cheap, right? So you can build around those guys easy enough. You can include them as part of your stack if it's a team you're targeting, or you can use them as a one-off if you're not stacking that particular team. When I cut down into the Domination Station, you always got to make sure that the goalies are confirmed. You're going to have to probably babysit that yourself because we've had issues with our data provider. They're kind of jacked up in how they present stuff. And we've got guys that are on it and are paying attention to it, and that's great. But it's also hard to pay attention to. So I would always double check those goalies. I'm not going to do that for these particular purposes because I'm just going to jump in and show you. Let's just do non-controlled stacking because it's the fastest way to do it. Let's do, say, 3 teams. And let's say that I wanted to do a 3 by 3 by 2. And line 1, 2, and 3 are in play. Power play units are in play. So I go turn all these on. I'm going to scroll up here, kick it to tournament mode. Let's build, say, 15 lineups. And let's use, say, 2 unique players, right? So I'm going to come back down here. I'm going to add a team. Let's say I want, of this particular combination, I want Toronto, San Jose, Nashville. And I want 50% of that combo. Add the rule. Now I'll come back up here and with, say, 25%, I'll do Nashville, Boston, and then Toronto will be the 2 stack. And I'll add that rule. And with another 25, just for grins, we'll make Boston the 2 stack, San Jose, and Nashville. And we'll leave it at that. And say those are the 3 rules. So I've got 50% and then 25 and 25. So there's 100% that should be stacked up just like this. And now I'm just going to go bang and let Domination Station do my work. These are going to give you fairly competitive lineups. Sparks and goalie, Lehner and goalie, Lehner, Sparks. So it's going to like Sparks and Lehner tonight. That's fine, I guess. I haven't looked at goalies yet. But I'm just looking at my stacks. Are they correct? 1, 2, 2 Boston, 1, 2, 3 San Jose with Burns. Interesting. Toronto as a one-off. Nashville. So San Jose, Boston is a 2. Nashville. So it's not exactly the 3-3-2 that I was asking. Boston, San Jose, 2 Nashvilles. There's 3-3-2. Nashville, San Jose, and Boston. Just the one Boston. 1, 2, 3 Nashville. 1, 2, 3. Oh, the Toronto. So it's trying to adhere to those rules the best it can, I suppose. But these are all focused on the teams that I'm on because of the parameters that I set. And they're all fine plays. You know, Boston, 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 San Jose, San Jose, San Jose, Nashville, and then Toronto again. So why it's not forcing that second Nashville guy in there, I don't know. Maybe it's because it doesn't like a couple of the cheap Nashville guys. It's not going to give me Sissons and Turris or something like that just to force two guys in. It would rather give me Josie, who's a better player off of that team, and then just throw me a Toronto guy. That'd be fine. Maybe it's protecting me against myself. This would be a fun way to play three max tourneys or whatever, but I will always make more lineups than I need. Say I wanted to run five tonight. I would take these 15 lineups and I would scroll this list looking at them and I would see which ones I liked. And then I would say, here, okay, so I don't want Bonino. So that lineup's out. Krejci, Hurdle, Slaric, Heinen, Meyer, Arvidsson. I would check it for a little bit of correlation. Boston 2. Boston, I don't know if he's up top or if he's on like the 3 or whatever. If he's on the 2, it's correlated. Heinen's on the 1. So you got 2 2s and a 1 perhaps. Hurdle, Meyer, Burns. Can't remember off the top of my head if Hurdle and Meyer are on the same line or if they're different. I think they're down on the 2 or the 3. So you got to watch your correlations because you don't want the domination station to throw you a bunch of one-offs. If Hurdle's on the 2 and on the second power play unit and Meyer's on the 1 and the first power play unit, they do not correlate. So you might want to double check that, and that might cancel that lineup out for you. You might not want that. You might be okay with it kind of in cash, but not on a big slate like this. So that's another thing to always go back and double check. So let's go down a little bit lower, see if we can find some of the Toronto stuff. No. Nashville, San Jose, Toronto. Toronto. It's not counting him, of course. Nashville, San Jose. And it's very similar again. This time it's got Bonino in it. But Marleau and Kapanen are my 2 off, if you want to call it that. Johnson and Toronto, let's call these. These are not going to correlate. I don't believe they share the same power play unit. I know they're on different lines. Bonino and Forsberg are not going to correlate. So it's really throwing you, even though it is quote-unquote stacking, these lineups are not very well correlated. If you want to really doctor up the correlations, you have to turn off the disable the non-stacking and go to the controlled stacking. And then set your rules up this way. You can't 3-stack, you can double stack, but you could set them up that way and run it and you get more correlated lineups. So it just takes a little bit of playing around with, takes a little bit of funky fun. But that's part of the fun of NHL. Hopefully you can get a couple of offenses. I would focus more on targeting specific offenses that you like tonight, drawing lines in the sand. Don't worry about covering all the bases. Believe me, even if you focused on just 3 offenses tonight and all 3 went ballistic, you still cannot cover all of the bases inside those offenses, even if you hit them right. So your goal as a DFS NHL player should be to focus on hitting the offense correctly. If you target an offense like Toronto tonight and they score 4 or 5 goals, you did your job. Let the players shake out how they shake out. You did your job. If you target Toronto and Boston and Toronto gets you, 5 and Boston gets you 3, you did okay. If because it's not going to be, there may be 2 teams that score 8 goals on the slate tonight, and it might be freaking Ottawa and Vancouver. I mean, who knows? But if you did your job and your team's targeted got you 4 goals or higher, you did good. You did good. Because there's going to be teams in here that get shut out. There's going to be teams in here that only score 1, maybe 2 goals. 3 is a little bit above average, I believe, in the NHL. 4 is great. If you had a team that averaged 4 goals per game scored across the entire season, they're probably your cup winner. That's how good 4 goals is. Yes, on any given night we want 5, 6, 7, 8 goals, whatever. It just increases the chances that our guys, all hit value. But if your team hits 4 goals, you got yourself a decent night out of what you were trying to do. Is it going to win every night? No, that's hockey. But in general, that's a decent goal where you can then gauge yourself and determine whether or not your mindset is correct, at least in my opinion. You want more talk like this? Of course, you hit the comment section down there. You join DFSArmy.com, use coupon code CHOP, CHOP, and drive the tools yourself. Take a look at these babies. These are helping. If you see us out on Twitter and inside the FanDuel and DraftKings websites, you see our Army hats all over the leaderboards. We're always up there. Why? Because we know what we're doing and we know how to coach you and we can make you a better player too. So obviously, like and subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and get on in here because we've been talking hockey all damn day. You got nothing else to do because I know there's no NBA on. So why don't you guys come in here and give NHL a shot? We will talk to you guys soon.